Tshivenda, Xitsonga, Channel 5. Sign language, it will be in the front and on the TV screen, because we're trying to accommodate all those languages, because we believe language are a heritage resource of historical importance and therefore must be preserved, and those that need to be assisted, they must be helped. My name is Chirizim Nyai. I am the chairperson on Education and Youth Development Portfolio Committee. I've been a member of parliament for the previous 4 years, but now I was here in the legislature responsible for finance as the chair. Now I'm responsible for the chairperson on education after the passing on of the honorable member, John Peace. If you allow me, I can sit down because all the screen will be visible, because there's a content that I want to go through. And you know, without the specs that can help you to increase your vision or foresight, I'll appreciate if I could sit down through your permission, please. Thank you very much. So as the chairperson on Education Portfolio Committee, I declare Uncle Tom Halls or Community Center and its surrounding as the precinct of Gauteng Provincial Legislature. So therefore, as I said, I must declare that I, Chirizim Nyai, the chairperson on Education Portfolio Committee, hereby declares Uncle Tom's Hall and the surrounding premises as the precinct of Gauteng Provincial Legislature. In terms of Rule 56 of the standing rules of the Gauteng Legislature, read together with Section 1 and 2 and Section 28 of the powers and privileges and immunities of provincial legislature as outlined in terms of Section 4, Act number 4 of 2004. So therefore, the precinct of Parliament or provincial legislature are described as follows. 1, the precinct of legislature is the area or the land and every building or part of the building under this Uncle Tom's hall, including the chambers, the hall that where we are now, which the proceedings of the BELA bill will be will be conducted. And therefore the galleries and all other areas that where we are in now. So I'm saying therefore, the precinct that we are now is duly declared as a precinct of the Gauteng Legislature. So the critical issue therefore, it is to welcome you all. We are very excited as Gauteng Provincial Legislature Portfolio Committee on Education to be able to be responsible to facilitate today's public hearing, because we must promote participatory democracy. People must have a say on the formulation of laws of the Republic, comment, make amendment and changes that they wish need to be attended to. So therefore, I will appreciate that we observe the moment of silence and open the meetings, and I will welcome all of you at present before this precinct, and we do so in honor of the previous chair of the Portfolio Committee, who would have loved to participate or facilitate the BELA bill. I'm referring to Ntate Jompis. May we please rise and have a moment of silence. We thank you. You may be seated. You are 100% welcome, as I was saying. This is your moment. But we will have this session for almost 2 hours. And what will we do? We will allow all of you to participate, because we can't deny you to make a contribution for the bill. And one critical issue that I want to raise is that those that have a written submission, we have a team that will help us to keep record, because some represent various organizations and they want their comments or their contribution to be submitted. So that will help us if you have a position paper to contribute to the bill. To be submitted for the record, so that you don't come later on and say, look, my presentation was misrepresented. We want to take all the presentation of all the community members. I must welcome honorable members that are before with us here, and would introduce all of them before we go to the item of apologies. You are 100% warmly welcome to Uncle Tom's Hall for the BELA bill. Thank you. Before we go to apologies, I will appreciate that we introduce ourselves. Honorable Member Adams, may you please switch on and introduce yourselves?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning, everybody. My name is Honorable Bishop Dalton Adams. I am a member of the Education Portfolio Committee in the Gauteng Legislature. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member. Honorable Dos Santos.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for attending this session. My name is Sergio Dos Santos, and I'm a member of this Education Portfolio Committee.
May we also please clap our hands together for that. And as I said, I introduced myself already. I'm Chidi Zimnyai, the chairperson on Education Portfolio Committee. Let's proceed now, therefore, to, I must say, facilitation on our behalf is to allow the members to have their input. We are not here to make a views either for or against. It's not our day today. It's your day to make that submission. Let's deal with the apologies. I will request the Chief Administrator of the Portfolio Committee to please give us apologies if there's any.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning to our guests. Chair, I've not received a written apology. Safe to say, only one apology I've received is from Honorable Bara from Parliament. He wasn't able to attend the meeting. Thank you.
We only accept the written apology as the standard for the record. Any other apology that's not on record or written down, we don't consider that. So in this regard, since there's no apologies, may I please ask the honorable members to move for the confirmation of the agenda and ultimately for the adoption of that agenda, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I rise to adopt the agenda and approve it. Honorable Adams.
There's been a mover, Honorable Dos Santos.
Thanks, Chair. I second.
So thank you very much. The agenda is duly therefore approved. It has been circulated amongst ourselves, but for us, is the main item relates to the BELA bill. So now, the purpose of this gathering is to allow you to contribute to the bill itself. I must say that the BELA bill is in terms of Section 76 for the National Department of the Basic Education. The presentation on the views of the BELA bill, as I said, is relates to Section 76 by the Gauteng Department of Education, the stakeholder input, and the discussion as well as written submission and verbal submission will also be accepted. The stakeholders' input and the discussion as well as written and verbal submission will also be submitted. Honorable members, you may pose a question, but the key issue, let's allow the honorable members, the important stakeholders, because we are collective facilitating this program. Let's allow our members to be able to make the contribution. And then, therefore, after those processes will allow Honorable Dos Santos or Honorable Adams, one of them to do their vote of thanks. That's how we'll be able to move going forward. Sorry, my documents are just, yeah. I must say that as the context, the Minister of Basic Education had identified a review of all the basic education legislation as a strategic priority for the Department of Basic Education. The draft amendment bill proposed to amend South African Schools Act of 1996 and Act number 84 of 1996, and the employment of the Educators Act of 1998, which is related to Act number 76 of 1988 in this regard, 1998. The SASA and the EEA Act, respectively, will be put forward with the following rationale. This is not our rationale. Remember, this is a national bill. It moved from the NCOP and then to National Assembly to NCOP. NCOP, therefore, bring it to ourselves. We must say that as a process of the bill, the people that initiate the bill themselves is the Department of Education, the ministry, the executive, and they must look at socio-economic impact. They must look at constitutional, whether it passed the constitutional muster. Then they send it to the NA. NA was expected to do the public hearing. From there, it must come to the NCOP to repeat the same. So ourselves, by extension, as the provincial legislature, were allowed also to conduct the public hearing. And one of the key issues that the ministry said, that they intend to implement the court judgment that protect and give effect to the Bill of Rights, and also provide the financial and the public accountability framework for government bodies and also as provincial department. So I'm not going to, because you all have the bill, I'm not going to really speak going forward because I'm trying to avoid honorable members to sway or to influence or to have undue influence on the content of the bill. So we should allow the members, therefore, to begin to make some contribution. What we are going to do, we are going to request members that want to make contribution, starting by this block, and we will note those members, those community members or stakeholders. We will note them, and we come here on my left side. We will also note the speakers. And those that come late, after, we're not going to have, I must declare, we're not going to have the second round. Because otherwise we'll have an obligation to pay the staff for extra overtime on Friday. So we'll allow, if you want to make a contribution, please raise your hand. I'm going to start on my right, and please, team, Tabo and the team, please help us to note the members, because there are those that will stand in the queue trying to speak, so without not having noted. So we'll appreciate that. We'll start with this. Please, if you are going to speak, because we are going to allow you to express your democratic right. We don't want to deny you as the Gauteng Legislature Portfolio Committee on Education. So we'll start at this. Please raise your hand for noting. Okay, I'm advised that let's just deal with this exercise. We'll come for the national to come and present, then and provincial, then we're done. Then you speak. Let's note first. Please help us. Is there roving mic? Because they must indicate their name. Roving mic, please. First row. I don't want to deny you the opportunity. Are you okay? Second row. 1, 2, 3.
Chair.
Right.
Sorry, Chair. I'm proposing that we have the presentations first.
No, I said we're going to have it. But I'm just noting them. When we come back, we're not disrupting that process.
So you're noting them, we're going to have a presentation, then they're going to speak.
Then
Okay.
they'll speak.
Thank you, Chair.
That's what I said earlier, for the record. I said 1, 2, 3. Please help me. Okay, who else? Number 4. Anyone there? Number 5, can you see that? Number 6, the gentleman on white t-shirt or shirt. Number 6. Number 7, madam on your black dress. Number 8, the young one there with a green and white striped shirt. And the other one as well. Then you follow madam. My good set, on a blue shirt, yeah. My good set on a white and red collar t-shirt, black shirt. My good set on a khaki shirt. My good say there on the purple shirt. I'm not good with color. My good say on the white t-shirt. And then my good madam on the yellow and white dress. Then my good man on a pinky dress. And my good man on the on blue dress, yes, and the dark blue dress as well, and the green dress, and yourself, green dress. And we have noted you on the yellow and the white. We are done on this one, and yourself, the last one. No, this is just logistic process. They're not going to raise anything before presentation. On this,
Chair? Sorry, Chair. My concern with this process, what you're trying to implement, is that there may be questions that arise from the presentation. So you haven't noted someone.
We're not noting them to speak.
I understand, but you've noted the people that will speak after the presentation,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
There may be people from this side and that side that may have a question based on the presentation.
They will ask it. They are noted. They will ask, because I'm noting them to even to ask whatever that may arise or to make contribution to the bill.
Chair.
Can you allow me to share the meeting, please? Okay, on this hand, on this floor, one on the black, okay, one on the black shirt, my good sales director and the remember that. Yourself, please. Yourself, madam. Another one, please. On the yellow and the white cap. Yellow and the white cap. And madam there, yourself, please. And also the young one there on the, I don't know the color, but I noted you. And my good sir with the cap. And my good sir in the black shirt. And my good sir in the white shirt and the pink. Now, I'm going to allow, please remember this process is not for us, and we should not have undue influence on the process. Can I please allow the National to present? But after their presentation, you have the right to seek some clarity. Yeah, please proceed, sir. You're welcome.
The presentation, can it be projected? Thank you very much, Honorable Munyai and honorable members. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is James Ndlebe. I'm the Chief Director at the Department of Basic Education. I'm accompanied by our lawyers in the department, Chief Director for Legal Services, Mr. Chris Likas. I also have a Director for Legal Services, Mr. Zugile Ntwati. And this is the team responsible for the BELA bill. I want to plead with ladies and gentlemen that you have the bill in front of you. There are clauses in front of you. We'll try and cover them as quick as possible, not all of them. The main aim is that we would love you to advise the honorable members on the clauses in the bill, the acceptability of those clauses or the rejections of those clauses. But our request is that as we go through that, let's input on what is in the bill. That is the request. That is why you have it in front of you. So that don't bring something that is outside what is in the bill as a point of argument, because it wouldn't allow the honorable members to debate on the bill appropriately. The aim is that give them wisdom and ideas on how the final will be or the rejection is going to be. When the National Assembly started, there are a lot of clauses that are no longer there because of the input that came from the floor. I can remember clauses like alcohol, clauses like opening schools, facilities without permission from the SGB. Those were removed, so please advise them so that when they deliberate on these issues, they are deliberating on what is in the bill. So it would not make sense to say, I reject the bill because of 1, 2, 3, and when you go into the bill itself, what you're saying is not there. And also to say, I accept the bill because of 1, 2, 3, when that thing is not in the bill. So can we focus on the bill? And that's what the presentation is going to say. And I want to start immediately by indicating what you will not find in the bill. The bill doesn't deal with curriculum issues. The bill has nothing to do with curriculum, so you're not going to find pass rates, you're not going to find subjects that are taught, you're not going to find anything around it, because those are covered in the curriculum statement. So we don't repeat laws. This one is going to focus on administration and governance issues. So you're not going to find subject, I repeat, like LO. Therefore, you're not going to find the teaching and learning aspect. Therefore, there will not be sexuality education in the bill because that's a curriculum aspect which belongs to LO. You're not going to get all those scripted lesson plan in the bill because these are curriculum issues, and I'm saying the bill doesn't cover that. You're not going to find issues around human resources in schools because those are covered especially in the Employment of Educators Act. You're not going to find infrastructure issues like building of classrooms, or all those mobile classrooms, the building of toilets and all that, because there's a law, norms and standard of infrastructure. So we couldn't repeat those norms and standards into the bill. So to say, the bill will not cover those things. But what you're going to find in the bill, clause 1, I hope you'll be going with me as I quickly go through that. Clause 1 is about definitions. We defining what basic education is, competent assessor, we're defining what corporal punishment is. What you will find in the definition of corporal punishment are additions to smacking, hitting children, to include other activities such as verbal abuse, such as insults, such as ruffling up the children, making them do exercises as a punishment. These are definitions in corporal punishment. I hope the audience is not going to argue for or against corporal punishment because the Constitution has long declared this punishment as illegal and outlawed it. So we're not going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about whether the definition is sufficient or not sufficient. Getting into the bill now. Clause 2 is talking to the introduction of grade R as a grade that is compulsory in school. Our school begins with grade 1. Now, if the bill passes, our schools are going to begin in grade R. So grade R becomes a formal and compulsory grade introduced in a school. So no child will start at 1 if the bill passes. It will start at R. Now, there are a lot of challenges around that where people who are currently running grade Rs in special places, institutions that are home-based or whatever, feel if this bill passes, therefore, it means they'll stop to exist. No, it's not saying grade R must be at school. It's saying grade R must be introduced as a grade, wherever it is. Because you can't all of a sudden dismantle a system. Grade R will be accepted wherever it is. That number 2 also talks to what we call penalties for parents that don't take children to school. They were there up to 6 months. The bill says increase it up to 12. Now let's differentiate that. It's not saying a child that is 5 who's supposed to go to grade R and is not in grade R, then the parent will be subjected to law. It doesn't say that. Let's differentiate grade R as a compulsory grade against compulsory school-going age. These two things are not the same. The compulsory school-going age, according to SASA, is 7 to 15, which means children that are 7 and 15 must be in schools by hook or by crook. So you may find your child not matured enough to start grade R for one reason or the other. It doesn't mean you are in trouble as a parent. It only means when the child is ready, you as a parent will have to take him to a grade R facility, wherever it is. You only get questioned if the child is over 7 and is not at school. That's where we'll begin to ask questions, because that is a compulsory school-going age. So that is clause 2, and I hope you're moving along with me to look at that. Then number 3 is about attended at school. It's talking to SMTs and SGBs on how to manage absenteeism. That when a child starts to disappear after 3 days, there must be processes in schools to locate the child. That's all that number 3 is talking about. I want to take number 4 and 5 together because number 4 and 5 have the same wording, and it's a cut and paste of the law. They talk about the admission policies in a school. It talks about the language policy in a school, and they're all the same. What is being amended is that the current SASA places the responsibility of language and admissions in the hands of the SGB. But these SGBs were given all the authorities and the powers to determine them without question. Now, in the amendment, the department is saying the SGBs must continue to play that role of the two policies. But the HOD of the department must have a say in what they are promulgating as policies in a school. This is to ensure that the language and the admission policies that are determined by the SGBs are in line with the Constitution and other pieces of legislation of government. Constitution in particular. The Constitution says a policy must never be discriminatory in nature. So if an SGB develops a policy that is discriminatory, it then activates the responsibility of the SGB to engage on that aspect. I need to give examples so that you understand me. A child that passes grade 7 and has to go to grade 8, and the school begins to say, let's look at your grade 7 results. You didn't perform well in grade 7, we're not taking you. And school begin to select the best learners from grade 7. That's discriminatory. If a school is going to be looking at how children are performing sport-wise, and those that did not play sport in grade 7 are not going to be taken, that is discriminatory. If you begin to make children write tests in order to be admitted, that is discriminatory. This is when the HOD will come in and say, SGB, let's talk about it. Language is also an issue. There are 11 languages in South Africa. The majority of the children in South Africa are taught in languages that are not their home language. They are taught in languages that are not theirs, hence their performance. We're learning a lot from the Afrikaans community, where everything is done in Afrikaans. They speak Afrikaans at home, they speak Afrikaans in school, they speak Afrikaans in the community, hence their performance is good. But the other do not have that privilege. They are sent to schools where they do everything in languages that are not their mother tongue, and that becomes a problem. It is where we're now saying, in a community, when you develop a language policy, look at the languages that are available in the community, and if it is doable to introduce them in the school, let the SGB introduce them. And should the SGB not be interested in introducing languages when there are learners who are skipping these schools to go far, then the HOD will come and intervene in that session. I want you to read the BELA bill with me. What you'll get in the BELA bill are steps that the HOD must follow in case he's not happy with the language policy of a school. Look at them. It's consultation and consultation and consultation of different stakeholders until you get a solution. And that's what you find in clause 4 and 5 of the BELA bill, where people are saying the powers of the SGBs are taken. The powers are given to the SGB, but the SGB must not abuse these powers. If they do and discriminate other languages that are supposed to be introduced in a school when there are no reasons to do that, that's where the intervention needs to come through. Let's move to the next one. This one, it's about how curriculum is made. Curriculum keeps changing. We have new schools that are introduced, especially in Gauteng, your schools of motoring, your schools of whatever. Their curriculum are not yet well defined. We're asking for permission that the minister get specialists, researchers, get unions, get whoever understands the curriculum to be able to deal with these issues if a curriculum has to be done. It's just a request for the minister to appoint people that can help, because the minister doesn't write a curriculum, but it is specialists that do that. Number 7, it's about the code of conduct. We're asking SGBs that when you develop a code of conduct, please work with the learners, work with the parents, work with the communities, so that we don't have these issues of children that are suspended and expelled for things that are cultural, so that respect the cultural and religious differences of children in a school when you develop a code of conduct. It also talks to how the SGBs must talk to issues of serious misconduct in a school. I'm moving to number 8. The others are going to move very quickly, I promise you. Yes. Number 8 is about drugs. In the previous one, there was clauses around the sale of alcohol and all that, which are no longer there. So don't bring it up to the honorable members because it's no longer there. This is just saying these things are not allowed to be brought into the school. Let's move to 9. It lists a lot of issues of serious misconduct. Some of them have to do with crime in them, that people know when Elena does that, that's a serious misconduct. It doesn't want detention. It probably would lead to expulsion. So those are the serious misconduct that are listed there. Number 10, it's about corporal punishment. I've indicated the definition, and that let's not argue around it. The Constitution has abolished it, but we're just looking at more definition. Number 11, the bill is also about the culture, the human right culture. That normally when grade 7 gets into 8, the first few weeks and the first month, they are subjected to all horrible treatment in a school in the name of siyabafikisa, rabafihlisa. We're welcoming them. And then they are humiliated. That clause is saying, don't do it if you are a school. Accept them, teach them your ethos, teach them whatever culture you have as a school, but don't embarrass them. Don't humiliate them because they are grade 8, where they are wearing funny things, they are working barefoot and all that. That clause 11 is just removing that. When you go to clause 8, you may be an SGB and a community that believes that this school is no longer working for you. You want to change the nature of a school. Maybe it's a dying school, and you want to change it into an art school, into a motoring school, into an aviation school. That clause is allowing you as community and SGBs to apply to the HOD and the MEC that, yeah, we want to change the nature. We want to introduce more subject in a school. That's what that clause is. Number 13. The merger and closure of school is in SASA, original, section 12 of SASA. So we're not talking the merger and closure here. What we're talking about here is how must it happen? Our experience as a department is that provincial department normally hasten to merge and close schools without having followed due process. And they end up closing schools and merging them wrongly. What you find in the bill, please go through the bill with me. You're going to find steps that says, MEC, before you close, before you merge, do 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a lot of steps that are in there. So it's a warning to provincial departments not to do it hastily. Number 14, it's about central procurement. Key word in the bill when you read it, it says, in consultation with the SGB. We have been advised that maybe it needs to change into with the permission. We don't have a problem with that, but what it means is that if schools can club together to go and purchase something, they will buy it cheaper when they have brought in their resources together. At the moment, there's no such a law. So schools are allowed to do that. If the department can find cheaper resources elsewhere, they can work with the SGBs and say, we've got something cheaper, can you come and buy? That is what the clause is saying, that in consultation with the SGB, let's do that. Because at the moment, it's not possible, it's not done, it's not in the law. And I know there are provincial departments that have been doing it, buying things on behalf of schools. This clause is also meant to them, that you don't do it unless the key clause there, please read it with me, in consultation with the SGB. That's what is key in number 14. Let's move to 15. It's about SGBs that are dead. Those who get elected and never do a job. Some members who are members of the SGB but are nowhere when SGB meet. It's just to say, can you strengthen the arm of the HOD to engage with those SGBs that are not functioning? Number 16, it's a clause that is now allowing schools to bring people who are not parents into the SGB because of their skills. They may be members of the community, they may be outside the community. If you believe that member can add value to our SGB, that clause is allowing you to go and look for them and bring them and become part of the SGB, so that the SGB is not only parents, but it is parents, children in high schools, including teachers and the principal, and other useful members that you believe are going to make a change in your school. Number 17, it's a role of the MEC to determine elections in public schools. But the problem with that is that when election comes, some of these provinces don't have regulations in time. Honorable Chairperson, the province that you are in doesn't have regulations for elections, and the elections are coming in a week's time. So we need so that clause has been sponsored especially by people who work with governance and say, why can't we just have one regulation that covers the whole country so that we don't have 9 from different provinces? And when we have 9, they so much differ. The quorum is 15%, Western Cape will say the quorum is 10, and they run it differently. So that clause has been put in there that can we have uniformity? And let not the MEC determine, but let the minister, having one, we normally issue guidelines and say, use those guidelines as regulations so that we don't deal with this. Okay, can we move to 18? Honorable Chair, you have schools of focus, schools of engineering, you have schools of aviation, you have schools of motoring, you have schools of agriculture. Their SGBs at the moment are not clearly defined. We don't know who sits in that SGB. So that clause is requesting that we look into those schools, so that if it's a school of engineering, there must be engineers in the SGB, even if they are not parents. So we're asking for permission to rewrite the act so that we include this thing in that clause. Let's move to 19. It's about dysfunctional SGBs as well, that if they're not performing a function, the HOD must step in. To give an example, an SGB might be given a responsibility to do shortlisting and interviews within a short period of time. Some schools will take 9 months, 6 months before they can recommend teachers. It is these type of things that we're requesting that the HOD must step in. If it means finding other people that can do the job on behalf of the SGB, we're requesting that so be it. Number 13. It's exactly the same where we dissolve these SGBs that are not functioning. Number 20. It talks about SGBs that might have an interest in something. For example, you are a contractor. You have a building construction. You are a member of the SGB. And the SGB wants to build something. When those discussions take place, recuse yourself, don't sit in there. If the SGB appoints you to build on their behalf when you were not in that meeting, it's perfect. But you can't sit in those discussions. You probably are recommending an appointment of a teacher, but one of the applicants is your relative. We're saying recuse yourself. Let other members do that job without you. That is what that clause is saying. Number 21. It's about payment. It's emphasizing the fact that SGBs may not be paid for the work they do in schools. It's a matter of economics. 250,000 SGBs that are going to be elected in March this year. No government can afford. We also deciding on that on a moral basis. We rather have parents that are interested in the future of their children assisting schools to grow, rather than people who will come because there's money in there. So we might attract wrong people to the SGB because they're after money. And that's when we'll begin to get killings like you get with councillors in other provinces, because the competition is now money. So we're emphasizing we don't pay. Can I hasten to explain this? If you take a taxi to school as a member of the SGB to go and work, that money must be refunded. If you drive your car to do school's work, that money must be refunded. And that's called reimbursement. But you don't get paid because you were in a meeting. You get refunded what you spent to be in the meeting. That's the difference that I want us to do. Let's move to 22. It's the same where we're saying the minister must determine on these elections, especially where we haven't laws, special schools, specialized schools as well, where it is not very clear. Number 22. It still talk about the minister having to regulate around these things that were done previously by the MEC. Number 23. It's a simple, straightforward thing. The chairperson of the SGB is a parent. Now we're adding, the chairperson of the finance committee must be a parent as well. So this is removing teachers from becoming chairpersons of finance committee, because we are afraid principal is in the school, the chairperson of finance is in the school, is a teacher, the admin clerk is in the school. The three of them can collude and money might disappear without parents knowing that money has disappeared. So that is why we want that movement, that collaboration between the parents and other members of the SGB. 24. In high schools, learners must be in the SGB. You exclude learners from the SGB, you don't have an SGB. But we're clarifying two things, that even if learners are in the SGB, they can't sign contracts. And they can't participate when you are appointing staff. Those are the two things that we are removing. The rest remains the same. Number 25 is that closure and merger of schools. Go through it, it's long. What makes it long? It's steps that must be followed without skipping. Consult, advertise, go to public comments, do that until you exhausted that, then you can merge or close schools. So I said it's an instruction to the provincial department not to take shortcuts. Number 26, it's a simple one. You enter into serious agreements as an SGB, please make sure the department knows about it, so that it prevents you from entering into 10-year agreements when your term of office is only 3 years. Then those who are coming in then have a burden that they were not responsible for. Number 27 is just the name. Change direction to directives, nothing else. Number 28, it says, when you develop a budget as a school, as an SGB, don't leave anything out for consultation. Budgets are passed in September. So the school must come and say, this is the budget. We're paying for 1, 2, 3, so we need so much. For example, don't hide the fact that you're buying cell phones for teachers. Don't hide the fact that you're buying them airtime. Don't hide the fact that you're paying them extra money for the work they do. Don't hide them. By the way, these things are not illegal. according to Section 38A, they are not illegal. You can do that. It's part of incentives. But when you do that, please inform the parents when they come and vote where the money is going to. That is what that clause is saying. Number 29 is a clause that says, if you are a teacher, don't apply for a tender to supply stationery and nutrition in schools. Don't do business with the state. It's not teachers before you attack us. It's not stopping you from running businesses. You can run businesses as long as you don't do it during school hours. But don't do that business with us, your employers. Run business, apply for tenders anywhere you want to, it's fine. And run your business, as long as you don't do it during school hours. That's what 29 is saying to teachers. Number 30. When parents apply to send children at school, some parents get frustrated because they ask, where is the father of the child? And their children are not accepted because the parent is not bringing the father of the child. And sometimes that father of the child has disappeared the first day he learned that the girl is pregnant. Where will they find them? And saying when you deal with documentation, understand that there are single parents there. Number 31. It's a serious one. Financial year of the school, January to December. Reporting, it's after December, you have 6 months grace. So you use school money now, you report after 1 year, 6 months. So what the BELA bill is saying is that by the time you report after 1 year, 6 months, it's too late. Can we have financial records on a quarterly basis? That's what it's saying. So that we can pick up mismanagement of funds very early. Correction, it's not audited financial statement every 3 months. It's income and expenditure reports every 3 months, so that they don't need to be audited. Let's move to 31. That is 31 that I was explaining. Give the HOD power to investigate schools that are mismanaging fund. Allow the HOD to even hire expertise outside the department to investigate the financial issues of a school if things are not going well. That clause 33 is about independent schools and subsidy. 34 is also talking about that. And 33, it's about home education. Chairperson, can I pack a little bit on homeschooling? We're quoting the Constitution as is. So that let's not debate the Constitution. We are a constitutional democracy, and Constitution is law. And what does the law say? It says everybody in the country has the right to establish an independent school. That's what homeschooling is. Everybody has that right. So it's constitutionally given right on top of being God-given right. So nobody can take away that right. The Constitution says in that section 29, when you establish a school, you must register it. So I hope, Chairperson, we're not going to debate about registration because the Constitution says register that school. The Constitution goes on and to say, when you are offering an independent education like homeschooling, make sure that the curriculum is not inferior to the curriculum offered in public schools. It puts it that way. So, Chairperson, we're not going to argue whether the bill is forcing people to do CAPS, because CAPS is not in the Constitution and is not in the bill. It says, choose your own curriculum. The Constitution goes on to say there are benefits for those children who are homeschooled, because you're taking away some of the responsibility of the state and you are carrying them yourself. So you're helping the state. So we're happy with that. But what it says then is that it's your child, it's your curriculum that you have chosen, whether it's a British, whether it's a Japanese, whether it comes from wherever, as long as that curriculum is not inferior. So that you then begin to teach your child the way you want, religious aspect, your cultural beliefs and all that. But remember, a curriculum says the child must do maths, so do maths. Whatever curriculum. As you do maths, you want to teach them more about God and all that. Do that. And that's what the Constitution says, and it's your God-given right. The last thing that we're saying in that clause is that when you educate your child, you register, you choose a curriculum, at the end of a phase, you remember a phase? It's grade 1, 2, 3, it's a phase. You need to report the progress of that child. And the person who reports may not be you, but might be an independent assessor. Because we understand a child that is homeschooled doesn't follow grades, has his own pace, has his own ways of doing things. So do all that. But at the end of a phase, get a teacher who understands foundation phase, who can vouch that there is education taking place, and I guarantee it. And then we take it as it is. So I need to emphasize 3 things. Register, choose a curriculum, get an independent assessor at the end of a phase. We used to say at the end of every year, but then we were warned, especially by people who run in the special schools. And I know there'll be issues that are coming that you don't know our field, you don't research, you didn't research. It's fine. It's your field, run it the way you want, but please abide to the 3 things that I'm mentioning. Then you can homeschool your children as much as you want without anybody interfering with you. I want to move from homeschooling. I asked for permission to stay there a little bit, then I did. This one is about penalties against anyone who provides false documents. I want my child to be admitted in Mondio. I don't live in Mondio. I live in Lenasia. Then I get somebody in Mondio and I cook the books and all that. That is illegal. It has to be stopped. That is what that clause is talking about. Number 27, it's about when there are issues between the department and the SGB, what must be followed. Check 37 for me. It gives a lot of steps that needs to be followed. It's not that we're differing with the department and to hell with you. There must be the law that regulates that type of an arrangement. 38. It's a simple, straightforward, the role of the state when it comes to being sued and all that. And 39, the minister must regulate on learner pregnancy. With your permission, Chairperson, this is one of the longest that I really want to pack. Read the BELA bill with me on section 39. You will realize that section 39 is a sentence. See? Sentence that says the minister must regulate on learner pregnancy. I don't know, Chairperson, where sexuality education comes into that. I'm not sure. I don't know where abortion comes into that sentence, because there's no abortion, there's no sexuality, and I indicated the bill is not curriculum in LO. If there is teaching and learning of sexuality somewhere in LO, the bill is talking about the administration of a school, not the teaching of the content in there. What it says is that the minister must regulate on learner pregnancy. Chairperson, we can't debate whether we keep pregnant girls in school or not, because the Constitution says pregnant girls must be in a school. The only question is, when they are in a school, how do we treat them? How do we manage them? How do we handle them? They're there. For how long must they be with us before we release them? If they miss a test and an exam, how do you deal with it? And how do you work with the Department of Health to ensure that these children are well looked after? They are pregnant. We're not talking termination. So the statements that it will allow teachers to send children for termination of pregnancy is not in there. I hope you're reading that 39 with me. It's not there. So advise the honorable members accordingly. Don't bring things that are not in the bill and make them like they are alive, they are there. If they are not there, they are not there. Can I move to the next one? All of them now, Chairperson, are just cosmetic changes of words. We used to belong to the same department with higher education where we have ABET, we have all these other terms. We have just removed all those terms. And we have cleaned those clauses in that fashion. And the one that is more important, especially in the Employment of Educators Act, is that of teachers not doing business with the state. Chairperson, may I thank you very much for the opportunity. And I hope the discussions will be on the clauses of the BELA bill and not additions to the BELA bill that we have never even intended to write about. Thank you very much.
A round of applause. I must remind the stakeholder that we've been joined by the Gauteng Department of Education, our legal mind here to help us with a number of issues, to help answer questions on issues that has been raised by the department, the Chief Director, as he did. We must also note the following. One, that with respect to the process, you deal with the sections of the bill. To say, yes, I support the bill, and with no substantive contribution to it, or what you replace, what you want to add, on all these things. But I think it's better that we are guided by the Chief Director on the presentation. I'm advised that the Gauteng Provincial Department Legal Mind, they're not here to make a presentation. I must correct that. They're here to help answer the question that may arise from the floor. But the key issue is not even answering. I must clarify that. It's not about answering. We're not here to respond to your issues. We're here to listen, to consolidate all your input and put into the bill for further consideration. That's what we're, so I must not create expectation that you'll answer, because the purpose of the session is not answering. It's the members, stakeholders to make contribution. We already noted the hands, which makes our work very easily. And as I was going out of the door, I was persuaded by the two representatives of particular organization of the associations of the school governing body that there was an accident on the road. They sent a message to the administrator, so they requested that they should make a submission. But that will depend if there will be time after you have done your work. Thank you. As per the order, can you please give them the roving mic, and we'll give each one of you 3 minutes. I'll tell you why 3 minutes. Now please listen attentively, because if we were to take all these speakers that we have noted and times by 3 minutes, you can understand the time that we'll have in this session. Secondly, is that you can also, in addition of contributing, submit your handwritten or submission to the table. You can write and submit and add. I know some organizations, they've already prepared their input. They can speak, but they can also, in addition, send their submission. Their names. And their names. And if you represent an organization, you can list it as well. Because my experience in Parliament, Chief Director, is that if your contribution doesn't speak to the specific section of the bill, it doesn't become substantive in that context. You know, I don't want your contribution to be lost. And we're not rewriting the bill. We are working on the bill that has been presented. Thank you very much. Platform is yours, please. You will introduce yourself, the organization, and your contribution, and additional content of the document. Please, I will appreciate that you face camera for the record. I don't know which one they must face. This one, this one. There's a camera there. Yeah, that one.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, committee members. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Niresh Badal, and I am here on behalf of Let's Do It Together for Education, a registered non-profit organization. We would like to request an amendment to the BELA bill. The term missing middle is something that we have all come to know to refer to students who are currently not poor enough to qualify for NSFAS funding, but who also cannot afford to pay their own fees. In basic education and the BELA bill, the missing middle that has been overlooked for more than 2 decades is micro-cottage centers. When micro-cottage centers first emerged, they were in response to the absence of alternative and affordable private education. Now it has come to mean not just the absence of alternative and affordable private education, but the exclusion of educational centers that do not qualify for registration as independent schools and learners that these centers provide education to. Micro-centers play a pivotal role as the true embodiment of the missing middle in education. They offer tailored, personalized learning experiences catering to students who flourish in such environments. Despite their undeniable impact, these centers operate in a gray area lacking official recognition and accreditation. They face potential closure under Clause 33 of the BELA bill due to their inability to meet requirements designed for large schools. Let us stop thinking of them as competition to larger schools, but as an expansion of the private schooling sector. They increase educational opportunities and improve access to quality education. With continuous advances in technology, education is evolving beyond traditional schooling. The winds of change are blowing through our education system, and it is bringing new challenges and new problems. Many of the jobs that our learners will be doing when they finish high school does not exist. Many of these new careers will not even require a university degree. So how do we prepare young people for a future that we can't begin to imagine or plan for? Micro-cottage centers are a beacon of hope, a solution to bridge the gap between traditional schooling and the demands of the future. We acknowledge there are concerns that have been raised regarding these centers. We know that these concerns need attention. In recognition of the crucial role of these centers, Let's Do It Together for Education has a solution to address concerns surrounding these centers. We have established a robust quality assurance framework that ensures adherence to educational and safety standards while fostering ethical practices. Failing to address this important missing middle and acknowledging the unique contributions and value that they provide despite their lack of widespread recognition simplifies the misconception that the only options for education are well-known established private schools or public schools, and that ensuring every child has access to high-quality education is irrelevant. Instead of ignoring this missing middle.
Sorry, the time is up.
Okay.
If you can just make sure that you do some written submissions as well.
I have already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The second in line to speak, if you can please come up.
Sanmona Unosipolo from NASCOP, National Association of School Governing Bodies.
Sorry, if you can just give your name and surname and the organization.
Nosipho Ntombela from National Association of School Governing Bodies. Ama concerns wami, most of them are going to Chief Direct. I have a concern, Director, because the last time at the Legislature, you gave us 35 pages of BELA bill. And then we had a cry, Yoguti, it's too complicated. It's not meant for parents or the community. It's designed for you guys as educators. But now, you said you've simplified the context, but we're having 15 pages. And then clause number 34, you can reflect there. Clause number 34, there it's 2.5 lines, but there's pointers. It's a problem. And then most of the things that you've mentioned, it says SGP this, SGP that, SGP this, but the functionality of it, they don't get it. And then you'd say HOD has to patch in. How many SGP members are being disbanded to the schools? It's a problem. So if you guys and your officials cannot be on the ground and feel the heat, you won't understand. You'll just give us a teach and you'll understand. So it goes back to the great R formality. You say now it's formal. And again, you say you can do whatever as long as we follow the process. give us a directive, Chief Director. You're saying if you don't have the processes or you don't send a child to school, there are penalties. But in Guzo expulsion, when a child misbehaves,
1 minute
you
left.
expel. So, what penalties are you talking about? And then you're saying pregnancy or teenage pregnancy or girls that are pregnant are not being expelled. So I'm teaching a mother and a child. This one is talking nappies and then this one is talking assignments in my class. Can you have clarity on that? SGP members not being remunerated. People, we are not asking of baholise, stipend, not umhol, because if you are saying you get there in order for building or motivating the school, same applies to teachers. They can come there and educate and go home. Let's feel the heat, people. Don't look at someone else's issues and say, abayenzi sense, they do.
Thank you very much.
Lastly, thank you.
We need to keep it to 3 minutes, please.
Okay.
We need to be, no. We need to keep it to 3 minutes, please. Please make sure that you do your written
Can I sum
submissions.
up then I sit down?
No. We need to move on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. It's just to be fair to everyone. But thank you for your submission. Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. I'm a councillor for the Democratic Alliance. My ward is Ward 81. I'm here really to speak today about an oversight visit that we did recently to Nakatula Special Needs School. And what was frightening to understand was that the MEC does not understand what the actual needs, the financial needs of the school are. And the problem with that is, to my mind, if you are going to take that responsibility one step up to the minister, well, the minister is even further away, he's even further off the ground, he won't even feel the heat, he's sitting nicely in the cold. And so that doesn't work. Practically, it does not work. I also want to, as an aside, mention that the finances provided to the school don't go far enough even to feed the people that are actually attending the school properly. And that is a disaster. My second point refers to the centralized procurement. Let's not be blindsided, but that is effectively what we have now, and that works through a tender system, and the tenderpreneurs who win it provide substandard materials, if they provide it at all, at inflated pricing. So that doesn't work. The local schools are forced to go out and procure for themselves when they don't get what they need from government. So that's also a nice, cool, comfy chair. Thirdly, home education. Excuse me. Home education is problematic in the sense that if you are allowed to be a home learner up until grade 8, and you have to register as such, and then you can choose not to register from grade 9 through 12, then all is good in the world, and it means less admin, I suppose, for the MEC or the minister's office.
1 minute left.
But the next clause on from that deals with those people who are actually now entering into mainstream education. So clause 10 actually discriminates against those students who wish to continue in that form of home education. And that cannot be allowed. That cannot be a constitutional prerogative. We really can't be having that. Lastly, for the minister to be telling the SGBs what to do is ludicrous when he is sitting up there in his high seat. The way in which to formalize and unify how the requirements are met is through regulations and guidelines. And that's the document that can then dive deeper into each province's needs. And those are that's my conclusion. There are a couple of typos I'd like to add, but I will provide that in a written submission.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The next speaker.
Sanibonani, umzukulu kaNxumalo inkosi kwaMabaso. I'm the provincial chairperson we Women's Wing. We
Sorry,
control.
if you can give us your name, surname, and the organization.
Okay, it's Mamsi Mabaso from Contralesa. Yes. Okay. The inkinga yokuqala enginayo ukuthi le exercise eyenziwayo namhlanje kufanele ngabe ize kithi njengabazali before ibill iza seyenziwe. Ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi noma singakhuluma sithini akukho okuningi okuzoshintsha from kulokho esizokhuluma thina. Okusho ukuthi siyafunzwa izinto ngabantwana bethu. Eqinisweni kahle kahle uhulumeni thina abazali senabo abantwana. So abantwana sekuaba kahulumeni. What we need ukuthi uhulumeni ake asibuyisele nathi amalungelo njengabazali. Yonke into esiyenzayo thina seyabazali icontrol uhulumeni. Kodwa mase kusebunzimeni babayekelela abantwana bethu. Sibhekene nama drugs, mase benama drugs abasazingeni uhulumeni. Uhleli lephezulu kodwa ama laws uyawa issue. So siyacela uhulumeni ukuthi sicela ukusibuyisela abantwana bethu. Ngesibona ukuthi if thina ke siphatha abantwana bethu ngendlela zethu esakhuliswa ngazo ngoba le generation ifike yamoshakala kanje ingenxa yokuthi abantwana sebuya kahulumeni banamalungelo ukudlula abazali babo. Khona manje silwa ne GBV kodwa nina niyasuka ezikoleni nifaka ama condom. Primary school kunama condom. Nikondona ini nithi abantwana balalana. Basuke mebeqeda ukulalana nithi akahambe eklasini. Siyazazi izinto ezenzeka kumuntu okhulelwe. Sisebenza uyazi ukuthi umuntu mohleli nomuntu okhulelwe uyozela uyalala. So lo muntu okhulelwe mekase eklasini wenzani ngoba ulalisa bonke labantwana. Then bese expecta nini ukuthi kuphase kube njani. Amasiko esikoleni zethu.
1 minute left. 1 minute left.
Oh, amasiko ezikoleni zethu awasenziwa. Zonke lezi zinto ezenzakalayo yizo ezimoshayo izwe lethu libe nje yilento yamalungelo. Siyacela ke uhulumeni kule bill yenu kenifakeni leyo ukuthi nabazali ababe namalungelo emfundweni zabantwana babo. Ngoba khona manje abazali
bathe isikhathi siphelile. Lalelani ke. No, lalelani.
khona manje abantwana
Cela lilaleleni. No. Ningayenzi umsindo because ngeke sizwane. No, lalelani. Mama, usele nge 28 seconds. Good.
enye into esikhathazayo siyabazali nabahlali ile yokuthi ama grade 1 nama grade 8 le online yokuthi kumele nina kuhulumeni isichuzele izikolo for abantwana bethu. Ningasicabangeli ukuthi abazali abaningi abasebenzi. Umntwana nimchuzela indawo la yofunda khona kumele agibele ama taxi awethu uzoyithatha phi umzali. Nisincishe izikole eziseduzana. Bese abantu abakuleyo ndawo la nithi abantwana bakhona bona bafunde kuphi. Ngiyabonga.
The next speaker, please. Sihamba ngesikhathi nasesiphelile sokstop.
Sanibonani.
Can't create another time.
Lo ome phambi kwenu uSarah Jane Chauke.
Sorry, ninga disturb ispeaker se platform. No. Why ukhuluma wena? Asikaka kukhombi. Otherwise sokukhipha la kulo mhlangano. Yeah. Qhubeka mama.
Sanibonani. Lo ome phambi kwenu uSarah Jane wakachauke. Okokuqala ngizocela ukuthi before niza kithi umphakathi especially ngendaba enkulu kangaka education nisitshele ahead of time because for mina living around this area this hall is empty. And then okunye ngithanda ukufakazelana nomama kukho konke okushilo uhulumeni akake asibuyisele abantwana bethu. Right now our kids badla inyawupe, badla ama-drugs, badla yonke lento le, because ey'kolweni ama-skills awasekho. What happened to woodwork? What happened to agriculture? What happened to umsebenzi wezandla ey'kolweni? We are bound to umsebenzi wasedeskini lo ozophilisa abantwana bethu ushiwe emuva. We have a backlog yama matrix our years behind. Khona manje abantwana abaqeda ukuphasa bebaningi bahlele ekhaya, they've got nothing to do. If they had skills kube baqhubeka nga something. Then it comes to indaba ye GBV. We need to introduce these gender-based violence activities guma primary schools, because abantwana bethu are abused from primary singakafiki high school. We are having a problem as well yokuthi the schools on the ground, on the level, they don't want to work together with the councillors around the areas. Bazokutshela ukuthi bona their schools are a district, but if you look, they are back into the community lapans. So the schools need to cooperate and work together nama councillors. Then I will go to indaba ye-NSFAS. I think the government needs to enter indaba ye-NSFAS because seriously it makes our kids to suffer. You have to run from pillar to post before abantwana. Right now they know that a lot of people are sitting at home not working. So that means half of the kids who just passed, they are also sitting at home not working, not doing anything. Thank you.
Siyabonga esikhulumo esilandelayo.
Anyway.
Atsola pele ra.
Can I look anyway? Yeah. Can I face anyway?
Look at the camera.
Okay. Nginibingelele igama uSiphiwe Isibongo Usibeko. I'm an activist. Kunezinto ezintathu nje ngifuna clarity kuzo kulapha ku clause number 16 ukhulume nge-co-option. Umuntu noma ngase uparent azange clarify number ukuthi you can co-opt up to how many numbers. Then wakhuluma ngokuthi uma ngabe uya esikolweni banibhalisa i-admission test kusuke kucwasa lokho. So then zikhona izikolo ziyakwenza lokho o Curtis Nkondo School of Specialization o PACE bayakwenza lokho. So naba monitor na. Okunye mangabe isikolo sine code of conduct. Akube i code of conduct enga discriminate abantwana. Today Orlando High abantwana baxoshiwe ngokufika late. So mawuxosha abantwana uthi baphelele ephi ngoba mabalimala ubani ozothatha that responsibility. Ngikhuluma ngento ya today. So bengicela ukuthi nimonitor zonke lezi zinto enizibekile la nyazisupporta naleza ka HOD ukuthi ayenzelele ngoba abanye baye abuse ama system. So nyayisupporta le bill kodwa ngicela ukuthi nimonitor nani lezi zinto engikhuluma ngazo mhlambe Lego Pace Lego Curtis Nkondo benza lokho ngobuhle hayi ngokuthi benza ngobubi kodwa ke monitani ukuthi kwenzakala ngokuhle nama admit abantwana babhala ama exam babhala ama admission test Orlando High today kuqoshwa abantwana bafike late so ngicela nimonitor ngahlala ema-office. Thank you.
Asibonge abantu engazange bakhombe bangaphakami. Only people that we have noted, please, they must come forward. We are told that the translators are no longer translating. I don't know with respect to which language. Can they do their work to help our stakeholders?
Hi, good day. My name is Tony. I'm a parent of a homeschool family. Tony Ferreira. I guess some of my concerns...
Sorry, the name, what's your name, say?
Tony Ferreira.
Oh, Ferreira, okay.
Yes, sir. I have a few concerns. I think the gentleman that made his presentation painted the picture from your end. Unfortunately, it's very vague in what you're saying. Even the booklet or these pages that you sent out, it says that it's going to change this or change that, but it's very vague in its definitions. It doesn't say changing what from what or to what. You say as homeschoolers we need to register, and that's fine. But is my understanding that you need to request to register. Who is going to deny your request or approve your request, and based on what grounds? As a Christian, I believe that the mandate for education of our children, even the people that have spoken before, are complaining that the system is not working. The mandate for education of our children is with the parents initially. So, you know, if we have to request to register our children, are you going to deny us on what grounds or approve us on what grounds? You haven't defined these things. Who defines what an equivalent curriculum is? Because you want us to test after every phase, but then what if our children are learning different things and different foundational things to the CAPS curriculum or other curriculums that you deem to be equivalent? So who decides equivalency? And so you need to define
My good
these
sir,
things
you are
a bit
left
better.
with 1 minute.
Okay, so yeah, I have other moral issues which essentially you've addressed, but I think that kind of sums up essentially the system is not working, and by adding to the system, I think you're adding more of the same. Yeah, that's my contribution. Thank you.
The next, please don't forget the 2 young ones who raised their hands, okay?
My name is Gareth Banks, proud South African and a homeschooling father of 5. I've been on the journey for 15 years and I've got 15 years still ahead of me. We have chosen to homeschool because we believe that it is in the best interest of our children, as we understand their abilities and their talents and their limitations, and we actively seek to work with them. Members, you've been very vague there. And just as Henry Ford once said, you may have any car in any color as long as it's black. That is how I feel this is. You may teach your children whatever until we tell you not to. I don't feel that you have given us concrete evidence and a surety that if I choose to school my children in a certain way and hone their talents, that I will be ostracized and that my freedom for religion, my freedom of opinion and expression and thought will be taken away from me. I do believe that we are facing exactly what the Greeks fought for against tyrant called Persia when they fought for democracy. The right to educate, the right to think, the right to have an opinion, the right to teach. And 50 years ago, we started a struggle in this country on the road to democracy. 30 years ago, we had democracy, and I'm scared that we are on a slippery slope to falling into tyranny again. Thank you. That's all I have to say. But wait, no, sorry. I do just want to thank you.
Thank
that you are trying your best and you are doing to fix problems. And I know that there are many people in government that generally have concern for our children and our welfare, and I do thank you, and I do thank those members that are doing their best for that. Thank you.
Yes, I will, yeah. Morning or afternoon, everybody. Morning, guys. All right, this is Charlene and Monique. They just want to also voice their opinion, and then I'll just quickly speak on behalf of our family. I'm Francois Roux, and this is Charlene and Monique.
I am Charlene, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am against the BELA bill, and I stand with the Pestalozzi Trust submission.
Sê maar net jy's Monique en jy hou van homeschool. Ek praat gou. Okay, while she gets the courage to talk, I just want to thank everybody for their submissions also. And guys, I want to mirror what he said there, that we want to thank you guys for the work that is being done. I think the important thing is we all understand that the bill has got certain things that we don't like and so forth there, and we've all submitted in writing and in certain other aspects as well. I think the important thing that I want to implore everybody there is that we are all parents. We all know what is good for our children. We know what we want our children to achieve, and each and every person here are created for that specific reason there, to go out and to become something of worth and something of value. So I believe that we stand together in the fact that we first and foremost say our kids need to be taught well. The second thing is parents love their children and they want to see their children prosper. And I don't want to have the ability for me to invest in my children taken away from me in any way, by means of not submitting my submission for this. So as we stand with the Pestalozzi Trust and the submission that's already done, we say that we're not going to lose the ability to teach our kids. I want to see them grow. I want to see how their values grow. I want to see how their love for God grows. I want to see how their love for each and every person here grow, because we're all created in the image of God. And I believe that is what we stand for today there. So I implore you guys to keep on going, stand for what is good and stand for what is true. And thank you guys again, first and foremost, thank you for the work that is being done. All right.
1 minute left.
Okay.
I'm Monique.
Yes. And thank you that I can homeschool. Okay, that's all right. Kom ons gaan. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Abba.
Dumelang mo, nna lebitso la ka ke nna Puleng Thulo. I'm concerned ka taba ya bana ba creche, bana ba le baithong ba tlo etsa grade R ko sekolong a kere. My concern ke hore na hobaneng ha o thwe bana bao ba tlo rutwa ho etsa sex ka dinompopi ka ditlaseng. Ke bona e se ntho e lokileng eo, because ba sa le banyane. And then hona le dikolo tse ding tse leng combine from sub A to grade 12. O thola hore hona mo dikolong tseo bana ba le ba high school ba ya di-toileteng tsa bana ba banyane ba fihla ba robalana ka teng. So re reng hape ka yona taba eo, nna ke bona e se right. Ke a leboha.
At the back there, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to address the committee. My name is Tiens Botha. I am employed as a Deputy Provincial Manager at FEDSAS. The Foundation of Governing Bodies of South African Schools is an SGB association. On behalf of FEDSAS, I would like to address the following aspects of the basic educational laws. Amendments. The first is the language policy, and secondly, the admission. Clause 4 of BELA amending Section 5 of the South African Schools Act 84 of 96, Schools Act, Admission Policy of Public Schools. I reject Clause 4 of the bill, which unreasonably limits the power of the SGB in determining the admission policy of a public school. The bill gives the head of department, the HOD, the final authority in determining the policy. Clause 5 of BELA, amending Section 6 of the Schools Act, Language Policy of Public Schools. I reject Clause 5 of the bill, which requires the school governing body to submit the language policy to the HOD for approval, and which allows the HOD to direct public schools to adopt more than one language of instruction. This limitation on the powers of the HGB in determining the language policy is unreasonable and unnecessary. I specifically referred to a previous meeting between the Portfolio Committee and the Department of Basic Education when Mr. James Mdlebe, Director for Education, Management and Governance Development at DBE, proposed that the sections in the Schools Act concerning the admissions and language policy of public schools remain the same. It seems that this recommendation made by DBE has not been taken into consideration by the committee and is not reflected in the report of the committee. It is worrying that
1 minute left.
It is worrying that the DBE's suggestion that the previous SASA regarding language and admission remain unchanged have been wholly ignored by the Portfolio Committee. It seems that this was indeed not noted or acknowledged by the Portfolio Committee. We trust that the Gauteng Provincial Legislature would look into this omission by the committee as it concerns due processes. It is our submission that the governing body is best suited to determine the admission and language policy of the school. The HGB is representative of staff, parents, learners, and the community and understand the context, need, and reality of the school and its capacity. We remind you that the HGB powers to formulate these two policies is not unfettered. I refer you to Section 5 and 6 of 58C of the Schools Act. These sections already ensure that the HOD and MEC oversight functions as exercised reasonably and proportionally.
Your time is up, my good sir. You are left
Thank you, Chair.
2 seconds.
Hello. Sanbonani, Lochani, Absheni, Jwabuti. Nda, goeiemiddag. Greetings to all that likes. Igama usiphiwe kaMahlangu into engizoyichaza la ilula nje. As in terms of my opinion of what I am stating right now is absolutely my opinion, and I have the right to this opinion, and it is constitutionally written down. The engagement at which the community has been communicated to by the panel of the portfolio at which I stand at the Gauteng Legislature is absolutely
My good sir, can you look at the camera, please? For the record, the camera there. Please.
It's absolutely appalling. So the camera can move if we have sufficient cameras that have the ability to move with an individual. May I kindly be given the chance to speak and be listened to? We may be using different medium streams of communication that are used in order for individuals to understand. When you are conversing with the community at first, you need to understand that we have come to a point where we needed clarity before in terms of the timing of the time frame that has been given down through the poster that has been given to the ward, which is a national key point. The third point, which end with 3 minutes, would be upon the collaboration as to the transparency within the actual Gauteng legislature. This is parliament in itself, to be simplified in my form of medium of communication, where we can inclusively so collaborate in ideas and how the private sector and the public sector could holistically engage in wealth creation. As you draw into creations of trust, where you have trustees who create more trust in order for education to be a propellant that will civilize the Sage nation. And thank you for your time.
The next person, ngobaba wephephulo lapho.
Ngizavela ngikhuluma khona yini ngirajiso. Igama lami nguKholen mfana futhi Nxumalo. Khona around la. I'm born in this area. I'm bred in this area, and I think I'll die in this area. Actually, Chair, I don't want to waste your time. I'm fully covered by the two ladies who spoke following one another. So I think they have covered me, and then maybe this young poet also has covered me. So then, what actually I am dealing with ex-prisoners, those who are on parole. I get them from Johannesburg prison, from Leeuwkop, and then I had a halfway house which I was running with Johannesburg prison from Public Works Department. They gave us a halfway house in Naturena. So I used to take about, it's past tense. I don't say I am. So, unfortunately, I used to take about 6 prisoners at a time, reintegrate them, stay with them at the halfway house, and then take them to their homes. When I get them from prison, I take them to their homes. And mangifika nabe emakhaya thola ukuthi sithola ugogo mina ngaphandle. Ade ufunani wena ngithi no gogo mina nginquma lo gogo. Then the old lady would say, now what do you want with this spewer here? I don't want this spewer here. Take him back to prison. Is he out of prison? Then I explain to God. Then God says, no, I don't want him here. Then I take them to FET colleges to do some skilled work, which you're not doing much. Somebody spoke about it. Woodwork, tailoring, carpentry, sewing.
1 minute left.
It's not been done now. So that's why it's so difficult for these guys or for these kids when they finish their matric to get employment. So tell employment yani une PA. Kodwa awukwazi ukuthunga, awukwazi makudabuka iyembe lakho, you cannot sew your shirt. So you can't get employment. So I think portfolio committee, let's go back to basics. We know that we took over from the previous government, but then there were good things which were done by the previous government, right? Like the colleges. We closed down that college laphayana ePimville.
Baba wami, ngokuhlonipha nokuyithoba kakhulu. Isikhathi sesiyaphela.
Thank you, sir.
Sanibonani. Lo Abraham Siphiwe lo ngamxodlana. Ngihlala la e39 ne. Ya bangikhava rapile labo mama baphambili. Kodwa ke ngicela nje ukubhekisa kini lapho phambili bahlali bantu abadala lapho. Ukuthi siyakhala siyama department of principal. Ibudget yeni incane mele thina la sikhiphe ikhwameni zethu ukuthi sigcwalise le mali eninikeza izikolo sicela nifakeni kancane nje for abantwana ukuthi bacover up. I thank you.
Asibonge baba. Puti ungeza manje.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pastor Kester Fisher. I am a representative of the South African Rainbow Alliance. Mine is twofold that I want to just note concerning the BELA bill. The first point that we've picked up in our review of the bill, it is that it is very loose and it leaves much to our imagination when we don't have specifics and when we take into consideration the very fact that we are dealing with the lives of children and the future of our country. We think that more effort should be put into the fact that things need to be specific when we note them down with things that are going to affect our children for the rest of their lives. For instance, when we look at the clause that speaks to the admission age or grade R being the new requirement in schools, it also then after that says that parents are welcome, for lack of a better word or wording, to make submissions as to whether or not they feel their children are ready. And how do we give that authority to then the parents? Then the clause 39 that speaks about the fact that the minister has the authority to make decisions on pregnancy in schools. I also think that that needs to be specific because just like a governing body or a SGB can make mistakes, so too then a minister can also make mistakes. The second point that I want to mention as I complete is, of course, that we must be very careful with this bill and the fact that it is removing power from parents, SGBs, and principals, because it then speaks to and reminds us of an apartheid state government that did not take into consideration the rights and the opinions of parents and governing bodies and communities. Schools belong to communities.
1 minute
School
left.
belongs to learners and it belongs to parents. And when we take that away, we are regressing back into an apartheid state, which is absolutely dangerous and unacceptable. Thank you, I submit.
You still there? You had a hand before.
Next speaker, please. Baba, bengikhombile. Angikhumbuli. Ngishilo la abantu engazange bakhombe bangakhulumi. Ngiyacela. Ngana ngidecide nje later ukuthi ngiyezana. Ya asiyeni kukhona bangibakhombile phambili la. Anisazikhumbuli ukuthi ngithe babani khona ngibakhombile emuva. Ah mama hayi azange uphakamise. No, share with me please.
Good morning.
Mise hlala phansi. Asi no. If azange uphakamise akwazi ukukhuluma manje. Hey? Sorry? Ay angikhumbuli kodwa ke asikwazi ukukhuluma sonke singaqula sonke kulungile. Khuluma ke mama.
Okay. My name is Londiwe Kuko. Thank you for. Okay. Thank you.
Khulumela kwi-mic sikuzwe kahle mama nje.
My name is Londiwe Kuko. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on the BELA bill. I'm a concerned citizen. Unfortunately, I have to reject this bill for the following reason. Clause 25 allows for the closing of small schools without giving a reason. This will tear families in half. Children cannot stay away from their parents. For that reason, please don't allow that. Thank you.
Maraz angizange ukhombe kodwa. Ubaba ngimkhombile. Yeah.
Sanibonani. Chairperson uhashe kakhulu kithi singumphakathi sicela usihloniphe ngoba sizovota ngekudala. Okay, igama lami nguBrian Wantombela.
Udlisikhathi sakho ngento kanamsebenzi.
It doesn't matter. Igama lami nguBrian Wantombela. Ngibuya kuMalvern Athletics Club. Ngiyabona lento enilethela kithi niletha namhlanje nifuna siqede namhlanje ngoba nenza ibox ticking. Thina somphakathi asikwazi ukuhlala phansi icubungile kodwa kade ahlale officeini lenu niyenza nisenifuna senizothika nithatha ama register nihambisa. Okay, isport neart asikho kulento le angazi kanjani. Ngiyabonga.
I have 2 points of order before I begin to use my speech time, and I will choose how to use my speech time based on the response to the points of order. The first point of order is about how speakers are chosen. This bill affects young people more than any other people. Why was I chosen? Why were all of those people chosen? These 4 had their papers up high saying, I'm 11, I'm 13, I'm 14, I'm 16. Why do you only want to choose a small, cute kid? Why do you not want to hear what the youth has to say? I want to know if they will have a chance to speak, otherwise I will give them my chance to speak. Will they also have a chance to speak after I speak?
Ma'am, we have asked people to make a contribution.
Yebo.
We don't have section of point of orders.
All right.
Can you make your contribution, please?
I'm going to give you one more quick point of order, which is that
We don't have the point of order.
it's necessary. The presentation had substantive differences to what is written in the law. And that colors the perception of the people who are going to vote. I'll give you one very quick example, then I'll tell you some other clauses it applies to, and then I will stop. So, you were told that grade R parents will not be jailed. The law absolutely, black and white, allows for that. You do not know who will be in power this time next year. You cannot tell this group that their grade R parents cannot be jailed when it does allow for it in the law. The law must be accurate before it is voted on, and it must be accurately represented before it is voted on. I will now give my speech to these young people who will each do like 1 or 2 lines so that they can fit into the time that they are allowed, which blows my mind that they have not been prioritized, either here or anywhere else.
Firstly, I would like to say, where are all the kids? Where are all the school buses? Why is this in the middle of school hours, and why did we have to fight to speak? Like, there is a law that children should have a say in a law that is going to affect them. Now, since I'm not able to do my full speech, I have to move on. Now, something that is very important is this little tiny but beautiful thing called harmony, because there's actually no reason to shut anything down.
Introduce yourself.
Sorry. My name
And despite the no, why nifuna ushare nami? Ngani bizangi nje ukuthi nishare nami.
My name is
Wena special.
My name is Rikeya Anzimba, and I am mostly rejecting to clause 25, 33, and 35. Carrying on. Okay.
Hello, my name is Hassan Zimba. Yes, that is my sister. And I have one thing to say. Having one key to the universe does not mean you have the only key to everything. Every person's key is different. Whether or not you use that key to what you proceed is based on your choice.
But you know,
Okay, my name is Teriso. Okay, and I object to clause 2, clause 33, clause 35, clause 35, and clause 7. Okay, since my speech is cut in half basically, I'll mostly speak about clause 7, which gives the DBE the final say on what languages are learned in school. Okay, so let me just give you guys an example quickly. Under this new bill, okay, if there's 3 small schools, you guys have the right to say whether they stay open or not, which we all know you guys don't have the funding to keep all of them open, okay? You guys will merge all of those schools into one, and then those schools are gonna have to choose which languages they choose. Like, if it was Sotho, Sepedi, and Zulu, we all know you guys are gonna pick Zulu for the new school that you've just opened. So small alternative schools, whether that be homeschooling kind of alternative schools or Sotho or whatever the case is, should be pushed more by you guys. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bonolo. Personally, I think coming from a Sudbury...
1 minute left.
Personally, coming from a Sudbury learning community, I am flexible with my time. I have time to learn from the mistakes of my parents that they have made. I have learned not to make them again. Without my learning community, I don't think I would have been able to dedicate myself to the things I love, which is sports. As you can see, I have brought with me my achievements that I would have never been able to achieve if I was forced to go to school. I am able to get the attention I need to do all of these, and the main reason why kids quit sports is because it is too hard to try to do sports and school because they're both very demanding things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker. We're on this side. On this side.
Number 1. You remember that? Okay. Number 1. Your name first and organization, and then we make your submission.
Thank you. You got 3 minutes. Name, surname, and the organization you represent.
Good day. My name is Watson Khologo from Khologo Community Development. On clause 1, amendment of section 1, with regard to the definition of basic education, I believe that it must be amended. The definition must include early childhood development education. The investment in education must be expanded so that the creches or ECDC centers are provided with adequate support in terms of curriculum, infrastructure, and financial support from Department of Basic Education. Clause 2, amendment of section 3, compulsory school attendance is not possible in some rural areas where schools are too far. Therefore, the education department must not recommend compulsory education or school attendance where there are no schools to begin with. The only amendment acceptable is to increase school buildings and facilities in areas where there are no school or less schools. Punishment is not a suitable recourse for a parent who's not allowing a child to go to school. It must be the responsibility of the department, especially with the high rate of unemployment. I propose the department to create jobs for community members who will ensure that all children go to school. And those people may be regarded as education wardens, so that they can ensure that children go to school, not parents. On clause 4, amendment of section 5, no children should be denied the right to education, especially in public school.
1 minute
Therefore,
left.
public school should not have admission policy which prohibit any child to attend school. They should find alternative, even if looking for that child's school base in other schools. Clause 7, amendment of section 8. The role of SGP must not be expanded to expertise to which they are not expert on. Therefore, they should not adopt code of conduct for the learners. That should be the responsibility of the department after consulting with legal experts and other departments. I'm afraid that this bill might become futile exercise, which might result in legal actions, because there is no budget to finance all this new development. In closing, no amendment will succeed if the education department does not invest in infrastructure, curriculum, amongst others. Let us avoid our
Thank you very
personal
much.
opinions on national matters and focus on what is in the best interest of society.
Thank you very
Therefore,
much.
this bill must be redrafted
Thank you very
to
much.
be in the best interest of society. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker. Three minutes.
Sanbonani, good day. My name is Bongane Ngema from ACDP. ACDP takes learners' pregnancy seriously. I reject the BELA bill, in particular clause 39 that amends section 61 of the South African Schools Act. In the final committee report, the government were too scared to say how many opposed the bill because the majority of South Africans have rejected the bill. The minister doesn't really care about the learners' pregnancy, and the policy on the prevention and management of learners' pregnancy is already a disaster. The minister apologized that it has taken over a year to table the learners' pregnancy policy in Parliament for discussion. All this shows that the minister and the DBE are seriously about really solving the learners' pregnancy crisis. They want to use the learners' pregnancy crisis to smuggle in their agenda with the UN nation friends. Using regulation written in terms of BELA bill will also be a disaster because the DBE lacks sound principles. ACDP, however, is seriously about solving this learners' pregnancy crisis in South Africa. We say learners' pregnancy crisis is too serious to policies, too serious to regulations, put learners' pregnancy in the bill. I support the ACDP submission and learner's pregnancy that has good principles that will stop the learner's pregnancies. I ask these principles are included in the new section 33B in the BELA bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker. Councillor. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you for everybody for attending. I actually wish there would have been more people. I am Gerald Goslin, a councillor from Ekurhuleni, but I'm not here under political pretense. I'm here as a concerned citizen, and I'm not presenting any political views, just to be clear on that. The background of the BELA bill was introduced in Parliament in 2022. Several parties have raised serious concerns about the bill through various platforms, including petitions, statements, public protection, protests and written submissions to Parliament, portfolios, committees and basic education. This speaks volumes by itself. The first concerns are the language and admissions policies. The BELA bill removes the powers of school governing bodies regarding language and submission policies, potentially targeting mother tongue education. So this could be beneficial or disadvantageous to a lot of demographics from this very lovely country of ours. Curbing SGB powers. The bill undermines communities' anatomy to criticize powers of education departments. Homeschooling. The BELA bill regulations overlook the unique challenges of homeschooling and also doesn't provide adequate contingencies for these. Public response. Parliament received over 18,000 written complaints and 89% urging complete rejection of the BELA bill. Certain parties have also initiated petitions, including 29,000 signatures combined. That's why, hence the fact that I say I wish there were more people here. Notable exclusions. So online blended learning. The BELA bill does not regulate online blended learning, which has become prevalent, especially post-COVID situations. Sexual abuse in schools, and this is pertaining to the pregnancy of schoolgirls as we go along with the certain subject. Inadequate protection for learners involving disciplinary hearings related to sexual abuse cases in some of these schools, as some of these pregnancy cases derive from these very schools, among these very teachers, among these very learners. Systematic issues. The BELA bill overlooks critical issues like dropouts, lack of resources and unsafe infrastructure, and teacher equality and quality. The way forward, the public hearings in 2024 will provide an opportunity for parents, teachers and community members to voice their concerns. The BELA bill threatens the community's constitutional rights to participate in education decisions and must be opposed at all costs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ronald Harris. I'm a proud member of the African Christian Democratic Party. Despite the verbal abuse we endured from the director of the department, he still hasn't convinced us that this is not an abortion bill. I reject this bill because it was rejected by the majority of people who have made previous submissions. If it is not an abortion bill, and this clause 39 particularly, which is a blank check to the minister, if it is not an abortion bill, the officials must explain what the regulations are about, or is this a state secret? The ACDP says clause 39 must be removed and a whole new clause added to the BELA bill to deal with learner pregnancy. The principles of this ambition are that we say every child is wanted. While a girl may not intend to become pregnant, every child must be treated as wanted. Girls who experience a crisis pregnancy should be referred to crisis pregnancy centers. that will make it possible to care for a child. We are positive about pregnancy. The DBE treats pregnancy like a disease for which abortion is the cure, and if a girl does not have an abortion, she must be rushed back to school. Mother and child should be kept together and support from the family and community. These girls can continue their schooling with special support through homeschooling, small schools, or online schooling. The BELA bill must make it easier to homeschool, create small schools, and include online schooling. The National Senior Certificate for adults must be implemented now to allow girls to get matric. We thank you for your time and we reject the BELA bill.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, committee members, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Terry Wright. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I oppose the BELA bill, primarily Section 39. Reason being, we're taking the powers and granting it to the minister. With all due respect to the ministers, they are so far away in a different galaxy. We need the power and authority to lie with our committee. The community, with the parents, with the teachers. Something else I'd like to mention briefly is homeschooling. The BELA bill encourages online schools to register, but there's no consultation. We need much more consultation to do with the framework, how things are going to stand with online schooling, the curriculum, and there, once again, I also feel the powers need to rely in the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next speaker. Thank you. You can have 3 minutes.
My name is Agnes from ACDP. I reject the BELA bill. I reject clause 25, 35, and 39. In particular, I reject clause 39 that allows the minister to make regulations on learner pregnancy. The department's current policy has the goal of allowing teachers to refer learners for abortion. This policy is enforced now, and the DBE is rolling it out into schools now. Teachers are impregnating learners in record numbers. Teachers stay on in post even after they have impregnated our children. These are a few records in newspapers' headlines. In KZN, a teacher is accused of impregnating 5 girls, forcing one to abort. In the Western Cape, a married teacher impregnates a girl and forces her to abort. In KZN, a 53-year-old teacher impregnates a 13-year-old girl and gives her an abortion pill. These teachers can hide behind the policy because principals, educators, and SGB members may not tell anyone about a learner's pregnancy or abortion without the written consent of the learner. Now a learner is given more power than a parent. The policy says, and I quote, no person within basic education system, regardless of their position or role, will disclose information relating to a pregnant learner without their written consent, close quotes. Parents must have the right to know all the details of a child's pregnancy. This bill will encourage abuse of girls, and many people realize this. This is why the majority of people rejected this bill. As ACDP, we say we reject BELA bill. I support the ACDP submission on learner pregnancy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The next speaker. Just before the next speaker comes, you're welcome to come up, but before you speak, I just wanted to give my apologies on behalf of the chairperson. He's got a family emergency that he needs to attend to, so he had to unfortunately leave. You may have seen that he was in and out, but it's a family emergency, so if you can just bear with us. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hallelujah. My name is Sarah Buchika. I'm from ACDP. Glory to Jesus. Okay, this is the reading. I regret the BELA because this is an abortion bill and the bill was rejected by the majority of people making submission in the National Assembly. Clause 38 allows the minister to make regulation of learner pregnancy. The Department of Basic Education will say this is not an abortion bill, but the policy on learner pregnancy is in force in school right now. A goal of the policy is that learners will be referred for abortion. The policy says, I quote, the policy says, I quote, the goal of the policy is to reduce the incidence of learner pregnancy through the provision of quality, comprehensive sexuality education and access to sexual reproductive health service, including access to effective, comprehensive technologies or as necessary to obtain abortions. So girls are being referred to abortion now. ACTP reject and say abortion is not a solution for learner pregnancy. The principle in ACTP submission of learner pregnancy are as follows. We say girls are not the problem. Girls are not the problem. Boys and men are the problem. BELA bill must focus on stopping the men and boys making girls pregnant and making pregnancy their problem and not the girl problem. Hallelujah. ACTP says set up special police
1 minute left.
Units and courts to prosecute raping educators and sugar daddies. Boys' education and sugar daddies are make girls pregnant, must face a financial life. They must be identified through paternity tests and forced to pay child support for life. I ask remove clause 38 and replace it with a new clause on learner pregnancy. I support the ACT submission and act that a new clause be based on ACTP principalities. Thank you. Hallelujah.
Thank you very much. We have two hands in the front chair. Yeah, this gentleman over here, he had spoken to the chairperson to say that he was arriving late, but before we do, we have an announcement by Member Adams.
Afternoon, everybody. I've got some good news. Lunch is almost here, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Adams.
Thank you, Chair.
3 minutes.
My name is William Zulu from National Governors Association, School Governing Body Association. Dumelang batswadi. I'm standing here just, I'm not relaxed because most of you parents are coming here and saying this bill has been rejected by the majority. And I'm trying to figure out which are those majority. But anyway, here we are. Thank you, Portfolio Committee, by compiling this report from the report that the submissions that we made last year, all around, we were in Dobsonville, some of us, and then from there we end up being in Johannesburg City Hall, where everything started. And if we are not there, unfortunately, hence today, it's like it's a new thing. It is not. We were there to make some submission on it. But thank you also, and I, on behalf of my organization and on behalf of the governors that understand what that this bill means, the governors that understand what that this bill means for the mere fact that of education of an African child, we are saying as Naga, this bill, it must pass. You like it or not, it must go through because, let me just say one or two things. One, homeschooling.
Order, please.
Homeschooling, your child
Order,
is
please.
regulated.
Order,
Your child
please. Sorry,
is
sir.
regulated.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I've paused your time. Member Adams.
Members, please. Let's some order. Let's give him a chance to speak, please. You had a chance to speak. Allow him to speak. We are not going to accept any unruliness. You had a chance to speak. Let him speak. It's public participation.
Thank you, Chair.
No, sorry, I'm not allowing. Everyone has an opportunity to speak. It's his
Let him just
opportunity
continue,
now.
please.
You have 1 minute left. Can I ask everyone to remain calm? We have allowed everyone to speak nicely. Please let. We have to allow different views. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start with homeschooling. All our children are regulated. In other words, even those children that are going through homeschooling, they must be regulated, colleagues. That's number one. Number two, language policy. Language policy, we at the schools, especially, should I be honest to say, if you are staying in Alberton, for an example, and you are applying for grade 1 and grade 8, your child, you are going to be rejected because of the Alberton school, maybe their language policy is Afrikaans, and you want your child to do English. Now it is going to be open that your child over and above Afrikaans can still do the subject in what? In English. So we are saying good work for the communities, not even for the portfolio committee.
Thank you
It's
very
for the
much. Your
community
time
to
is up.
agree on that.
Thank
Number
you.
3.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Yes.
Thank you. Time's up.
No, we have already submitted. Okay.
There is just one more gentleman, then we'll take it from there. 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Max Ramasike from the National Governors Association. And I must say to the Portfolio Committee that as an association, we accept the bill. And I'm just going to make few examples. One, currently as we speak, when we talk about grade R, majority of our children in township schools cannot access grade R if parents do not have money, because they have to go to independent grade R. Now, for allowing children to be in grade R in schools, then all children will have an opportunity to do that. On the issue of language policy, which I want to re-emphasize, currently in our townships, we have areas from apartheid, and we spoke about that. We have schools that are only demarcated to say, this is a Tswana school, this is a Zulu school. But in our areas, we are integrated. So a child who stays closer to a school of Zulu cannot access, because that school is only for Tswana people. So hence, we support that language policy. The Department of Education, SGP, must submit for the department to review. And there's no government that is taking the powers of the SGP. It's because people don't read the bill. If you read the bill, you will understand what this bill is trying to do. So on those words, we have already made a submission, and I thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So we have come to the point where we've taken all the hands. So I've spoken to, hold on, whoa. Let me speak. Please sit down. Let me speak. So what we're going to do is allow a second time for those that have not spoken yet to speak. Again, we allow 3 minutes for each person. I'm going to allow 5 people from this side and 5 people from this side. Did we not do it the whole? Hold on. Okay, all right, sorry. There are a few more hands. Please, if you can address all the hands that are left here. Then we'll make a decision about opening up a second round.
Can we just see, do you know the ends?
Who originally had the hands up in the first round?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, we got it. Now we have finished this side now. We thought, listen to me. We thought that they were finished, but now we are corrected, so this side has to finish, and then we will then go for lunch. We will not do the other five. Thank you so much.
Can you ask them to stand over here? Thank you. Who's the first speaker?
I start.
Thank you. Give me 1 sec. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Boniface Matlou. I'm a member of the SGB. I've got 18 consecutive years in the SGBs. There are so many challenges in the SGBs. I'm going to speak to clause number 37 with support and request that I made a further insertion of section 59B, which is not there. In schools, we have got a dispute between SGBs and the principals, and that is not there. There are conflicts that emanate between the principal and the SGB, and when we're supposed to reach a situation whereby there must be a dispute resolution, you'll find that they call the IDSO. They are not referring to the HOD, they're referring to the IDSO. When you check the South African Schools Act, it doesn't speak of the IDSO. Why the SGB are taken to protocol, whereas the SGB speaks of the HOD. So I propose further insertion in terms of section 59B to be added in the bill. I support the bill in that manner. And I want to make it clear that this dispute emanates from section 20 and 21, whereby the school governing body have been given roles and responsibility, and they've been allocated functions of which the principal are disputing in terms of the implementation by the SGBs. Remember section 16A of South African Schools Act, it gives the responsibility of the principal in the SGB. But it says as well that principal is accounted to the head of department. In other words, the principal is representing the head of department. But when the dispute emanates, that one is no longer considered.
1 minute
So I'm requesting a chairperson to say this matter must be taken on a very serious note, to say insertion of section 59B must be added in the bill. I support the bill.
Thank you very much. The next speaker. Three minutes.
Hi everyone, my name is Lebankwana, and I say I reject the bill in its current state unless if certain amendments or fixing are done. All right, I'll start with clause number 5, all right? Where now the language and all of that they've been talking about, that everybody can select their language and all of that. There's been a bill and a clause, a legislation that says if there are a certain number of kids in a school and are set to get a certain language to be passed within the school to run, they can apply for that and it can be done. So let's stop duplicating things if things are there and try to make things as if it's something new to us. That's number 1. Then number 2, we're gonna come to section 6, where it speaks to the issue of the minister getting people to assert what our curriculum should be. We are in this current state at status of our curriculum because those experts were there to do this and they failed us. So now, until they come back to us, the people, those experts must go do that, come back to us. We must see if it's really good for our children and we can approve it. Without us, it doesn't go through. That's that. Number 7, the thing of that the MEC must also, you know, the code of conduct to be done by the SGB, I feel it's wrong. The department must do it. It must be uniform across board. And it must be according to the constitution. So that's number 1. And again, we are missing consequential, there's no consequential management within our government. And it's filtering to the schools. So now, you are talking about consequences on kids with drugs and all of that, and you are not specifying what are those consequences. Let's know them, let's understand them, and deal with them. You were talking about expulsion and other things, but you are forgetting one thing. You are saying no kid is not supposed to be in school, all kids must be in school. But you are missing the first rule of the Constitution that says, we all have rights, but no one's rights are above the one of another. So now you must understand, if one kid in a class is disrupting the whole class, that kid must be removed because the majority cannot suffer because of the minority. So if those people are going to disturb the education of our kids, they must be removed from the school. And this thing of schools operating with SGBs and they are saying the community not being involved, it's again a wrong thing to be done. As much as you are saying you want to co-opt people from the community and all of that, also, you must also look at the fact that who are you co-opting? What is their background within the community? Are they doing community work? Are they working towards the future and building of the community for the better? Just don't pick anyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have the next speaker come up? 3 minutes.
Sanbonan Dumilan Mulwin, Abshen. My name is Ntswaki AP Mokele. I'm the founder of the Community Development Trust with the interest of developing the community, especially educational. I'm not going to repeat whatever has been said by other people because it will take my time. Mama from Controlesa has said a mouthful. As a principal of the crèche and the daycare center, I would like to emphasize to the lawmakers that I'm the key person who knows and understands the IQ of a child from foundation to school going. Now, if lawmakers will exclude me as they are sitting with the thinking that I don't know anything about law, they are making a mistake. And that is public participation. We need it to the fullest. One other thing I feel the law is doing away with our teaching of morals to our kids, starting from the house. And I feel now the law is really underestimating our parenting. Or there's a clause that talks about closing the school and merging the school. But there isn't a clause of the utilization of the closed schools. As Baba has said, as a community developer, I went to the government having this idea in mind. I was dealing with the dropouts at schools because government is not catering for them. I was dealing with the ex-offenders because government was not dealing with them appropriately. But I was denied to use Igugu and Fretlag Primary as they were closed. And thirdly, what surprised me as they interviewed me, they didn't like me having a white person next to me. They said, I am fronting for that person. And so unfortunately, it was not the truth. Guys, finally, I want to tell you, you are doing these laws, but you are lacking monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of these acts. My wish was that at King Clause 39,
Thank you. Time is up.
I thought it was-
All right. Thank you.
Hi.
3 minutes.
Yes. My name is Maria, and I am 16. Dear Honorables, before I start, I would like to say that my speech will definitely be under 3 minutes. You wouldn't have to worry. Let me start by saying that I am angry at this bill as a learner. Because you guys are making it so vague on purpose so that they can just go back, change things, say things that were not in the bill, put things in to use it against us as learners. So we can be forced as learners to be impregnated, not by choice. We won't get the education we deserve. We won't be able to do homeschool because they don't want us to. They want us to be adults who live on the street, not educated adults. For instance, okay, in your presentation, you say that a parent won't be prosecuted if they don't send their child to school at age 6. But according to the green forms handed out, point 2.2.1, parents will be prosecuted if they don't send their child to school at age 6 for grade R. So which is it? Will the parent be prosecuted or not? I'm aware you stated that no questions to be asked. However, I can't help but raise this concern about this bill. How you are trying to sweep this under the rug constantly. Then on clause 39A, change the wording to reflect your intention, okay? Change management to inclusion, because that is truly your intention on that clause. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And this will be the last speaker.
Hi, my name is Simone Fischer, and I am for homeschooling. I was wondering if our grandparents ever had a thought of being attacked for our faith, needing to defend in this country. I'm against the BELA bill, clause 35, selection 1, 2, 4, and 12 do not respect parental rights. A young man was recently expelled from Port University because he defended his faith in Jesus Christ. My family and myself are so thankful for homeschooling, where we are able to be taught in our own choices. In the last month, the government presented the BELA bill, which would bring all the schools under their authority. Why such a step? 1, to strip us from our own identity. 2, to force on us foreign religion or else face consequences. Furthermore, homeschooling builds us towards our birthright into God's purpose, and I can also work in my own pace and time. We are so grateful for men and women standing firmly, addressing those who comes against 1, freedom of speech, 2, freedom of choice, and 3, freedom of religion. Remembering our God will not be mocked, He is our helper. I finish to say thank you to all who works towards our future, protecting us and all future generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, wasn't that the last hand? So we've got 2 more speakers. Okay, then that's it. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Dumelang batswadi. Ka lebitso ke Moswa Sutlwadi from National Association of School Governing Body. In short term, it's NASCOP. I'm going on the clause of clause 2, 2.1.11 on home education. We have a problem of the kids that the school, they don't want to take them. One of them, Mr. Ramasike, he knows about that case. And we've got many of them. So I think on that lot, you can put a time frame that within 24 to 48 hours, if the child doesn't have a space at school, the Department of Education must give that child the necessary equipment to study at home. Because of now, as the kid is at home, the syllabus is gone now. He didn't benefit anything. But while he's still at home, he can get tablet, he can get a data, he can read and write and submit and get education as everybody. The different will be the environment. And then on clause 33, the independent school that they are not registered. What are we doing with those kids, those who are on that school? You find them that they are brilliant, but because of they are not on the database, what are we doing with them? Are we rejecting them or are we protecting them? Because of the owner of the school, he must face the music, but he knew very well from the word-go that the school is illegal. They call it fly by night. So the owner must face the music. But how are we going to protect those kids, those brilliant kids? Because of if we dump them, then it's like we are creating slavery or drug addicts. So that is the homework for you, maybe and for the community, that the time frame of home education and the illegal children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This will be the last speaker for the day.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
My name is Janki Matlala from Arikhanyele Seding Development Initiative in Alex. Chair, I just need to maybe get a clarity or maybe submit on clause 2, amendment of section 3. My question is that, are we saying we're moving out the grade R from the ECD? That's my question. And why we don't have the ECD also to be incorporated into this bill? So I wanted the bill to, I wanted the ECD also to be included because of that doing a great job in terms of making the children ready to the schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of this session. Before I hand it over to Member Adams for the vote of thanks, it has come to our attention that there's members of the public, and I'm not saying anyone here, but members of the public have been submitting their submissions to the officials with very vulgar language being used, with a lot of insults towards the staff. I know this has been live streamed on YouTube and maybe other social media platforms. Can I just ask that the general public that are interested and have concerns and want to submit their concerns, please refrain from using such vulgar language. We're all here to listen to your concerns and obviously take that up with the relevant department. But that's it from our side. Member Adams.
Thank you so much, Acting Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. So let me just mention quickly in closing that the Education Portfolio Committee is a multi-party committee. I think it's important that I put that on record, that you know it's different political parties that sits on portfolio committees and governance committees. So we have our own challenges in terms of how we deal with issues in the legislature. That's why it's imperative that public participation, which is enshrined in the Constitution, is of critical importance. Today heralds again the voice of the Constitution that allows public participation, that allows the communities, the people of all race groups, to voice their opinions from their different religious backgrounds. People may speak, and the lawmakers must be able to take your views and your presentations into consideration. It is a beautiful phase for South Africa, for where we're going towards the election, that all of us must build this country together. We must take hands together, not only for us, but for our children and our children's children. Somebody once said the people of South Africa must be involved. must be involved in legislation and drafting of laws. So public participation requires that. They must be consulted in an organized fashion like today on specific issues in order for the new law to be sensitive and to be shaped by the realities and for it to address the realities of our communities. We want to thank you very much for coming from different parts of Gauteng to be here today at Uncle Tom's Community Hall so that your voice will be heard. Thank you to the National Chief Director that made the presentation, to our legal expert that's here from the Gauteng Department of Education, to all different formations that is here today. I'm not going to mention them. To the honorable members that were here, we pray that this session will go a long way to craft legislation that you want for you and for your children and the next generations. I thank you very much for coming. Lunch will be served now. Thank you so much, and God bless all of you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, Member Adams. I officially close the session. Thank you.